What's up, everybody? Tweech here, and this video for Demon Souls, I'm going to show you a little bit more about the Faith build from the previous Faith playthrough, but this time on New Game Plus, and how to prepare your stats going forward into the new game. So a lot of times when you're playing the game, you finish the game, you could probably finish the game around soul level 50, maybe even 60. I always try to finish around 100 going into the next New Game Plus, because the difficulty level jumps up so much that if you're at that lower level, you're going to have a difficult time. I found a sweet spot to make it still challenging but yet doable with less deaths was around 100. In fact, one of my another character that I've been playing New Game Plus on is 108, and I'm having a much easier time going through. But for this particular episode, what I'm going to do is just talk through a little bit different steps you could take, stats you could upgrade, and equipment that you could use through different scenarios. And what I'm showing right now is the Saint's robe and the Saint's gear, and the reason why I chose that one to start off with is the Saint's gear really looks like a very cool Faith type of character. Obviously, coming over here into the other section where all our Faith characters are, you could see a matching our Saint Urbane. And you kind of just play the part. So it's more of like a role-playing type of equipment that you could use. The equipment, for the most part, when you go into New Game Plus, is really, up to you what your preference is. But in this video, I'm going to highlight four particular sets that I like to use in different situations, including PvP. So with that, let's kind of dive into it. So the first one here that I'm showing, like I said, is the Saint's robe. And if we go looking at these stats, they're not overwhelmingly amazing stats, right? They do provide quite a bit of, you could see some physical defense, some blunt, slashing, piercing, magic. A magic defense is up to 223 with it, and fire damage. So the stats overall aren't horrible, but the thing that I like about this set is that it's so low weight that if you look, right now I have the strength ring on, but if I were to take this off, up in the top right, it would still be only 27% of my weight, which is really good. That means I could stack better weapons, stronger weapons, shields, things like that if I need to. It also frees up a ring spot, so I could choose to put in, if I want to go all regen, I could put a regen ring on. If I want to do a stamina boost, MP over time, it really helps to alleviate using the ring of strength just to carry those weapons and armor. So really quick, I'll just talk about the weapons of choice, because I'm not going to be changing these throughout the video. I'm only going to be changing the armor. So the main weapon for most of New Game, not New Game Plus, you could take it into New Game Plus, of course, is the Blessed Myrden Hammer, +5. I always say Meridian Hammer. But the Myrden Hammer +5 is very strong, and a lot of people that play Dark Souls, or Demon Souls, sorry, they'll see somebody with this hammer, this type of setup, that shield, and they know instantly, okay, this is a regen build, this is possibly a Faith build. But the moveset's pretty good for both PvP and PvE. Very strong set. And just to show, so in my right hand there, just above my head here, we have 406 damage. That's pretty good. So the other thing that I like to switch to is still, this is my favorite sword of the game. It does less damage, of course, but just look at it. I think it's just a very pretty weapon. A lot of positive things about this weapon. Number one is that when blocking, it absorbs 90% of the magic damage. Now that does not include fire damage, but in essence, any kind of magic coming towards you, you could, if you're two-handing it, you could block and really tank a lot of that magic damage. Plus, it just looks badass, right? So the movesets are just like the Claymore, right? Very cool. You could get a couple good swings in here, 1, 2, and then R2 heavy overswing. But the other great thing about this sword is that it just cuts through shields. You know, if there's like those blue knights or red knights even, as they have their shield up, it doesn't matter. PvP, it is weaker. Just to show you again, we are, let's see. Yep, so right hand weapon 2, you're looking at 320. So it is a little bit weaker, well, quite a bit weaker than the Murden Hammer. And then lastly, on my shield, Adjudicator Shield +5, this just offers a high regen. That's why I have it on there. It doesn't necessarily do very well for blocking or tanking. What I do then is I switch over to my Dark Silver shield. I have that at +5 as well. And what we want to look at with this weapon is that you can deflect 100% of your physical, 100% magic. Also offers a parry deflection, so it's realistically one of the best in the game. There is a downside. Let's see if I could show that. So let's see. I'm just going to pull up some of the information. All right, so one of the positive things with the shield is that it offers a high magic. It offers a very high magic defense on top of the 100%. So it increases your magic defense by 30%. But decreases your magic damage output by 87%. That's at a +5. So what that really means is if you are casting while wearing this shield, you will do 87% less damage with your magic. And it only pertains to magic, not weapons that have magic damage tagged onto it. It's legit magic user. So it's not really that great to have as a magic user, but it definitely fits in with even the faith build. As your faith scales up your magic defense as is, this will definitely enhance that. Alright, so the other weapon for New Game Plus that I'd like to talk about is the some other things here that I have some good honorable mentions. The main sword that I've been using in my New Game Plus and beyond is the Northern Regalia. This is just an amazing weapon. Should you have your character tendency up to pure white or pure black. So just to show you the difference, I am now at 540 damage with that weapon. Just to show you, my character tendency is pure white, so that gives me the highest amount of damage I believe possible at this point for that sword, I want to say. To compare it with the hammer, as you can see, hammer's 403, and this this just wrecks. So even with two-handing, you're at 406. Let's go over to Northern Regalia. I don't think that changes now. 540. So, as you can see, it is much better to use this sword, and it has the same moveset as your claymores and the large sword of Moonlight. So it's not a far stretch. So I would suggest going after that weapon as well. One thing I forgot to mention is I think I forgot to mention is the blessed weapon. Anything blessed will give you also regen, health regen. So if you want to go for your regen build, your blessed weapons will give you health regeneration, plus your your +5 adjudicator shield, and then you could throw on the regenerator ring, and you're going to be like you're going to be really tanking some hits and getting your health back very quickly. So for the weapons, like I said, what I carry with me is a couple, and some are just more for aesthetic and just fun. But when I'm really looking to shred things, I switch over to the Northern Regalia. If I'm in tight corridors, I switch over to the Blessed. Again, if there's some shield users, I may switch over to the Moonlight. So these are my three that I typically go to. I do have a Blessed Claymore just because I love the Claymore. I think the Claymore is just fantastic. Has a similar moveset, of course, as some of the other swords, but I just spent time getting that to a +5. Penetrating sword +5. I got this just simply because in my new game +3, I was able to unlock the penetrator armor. So I wanted to complete the set. And then the other things, another blessed knight sword. Again, I just not really that useful with all these other weapons, but it's a much faster sword, one-handed sword, and kind of completes the set. And then I had this one for early on, dragon longsword +5. This adds the fire damage, so I mess around with that one a little bit. And then for my ranged, I went ahead and upgraded to the lava bow, which also is a fantastic weapon. And just to show you, it has a pretty high damage at 359. So good ranged weapon, turns everything to fire. So definitely something to pick up and look for. So there are the weapons. And let's get back to the armor. So the reason why I kind of skimmed over the Saints robes is that it's not really that practical and that useful. Like I said earlier, it's more of a, hey, let's look more like a saint than anything. The other mentions are the dark silver armor set. What I call this, the dark silver set, is the Holy Knight. I think it just looks like a holy knight, like you're ready to fight in a holy war. Of course, the shield does not match very well, but you throw that on, and I think there you go. You have your holy knight. Some advantages to this set is that it's a medium weight, so you may be able to get away with not using the strength ring, but even if you need it, that's fine. You could put the full set on. Headpieces for the entire playthrough, I use this. I use the silver cornet, just because it doesn't really do anything for defense-wise, but it increases my magic pull. But back to the silver set, it does have pretty good fire resistance and bleed protection, so not a bad overall set. And of course, it has pretty good overall defense. Some of the cons, though, it does slow your stamina regeneration. So as you can see, as I'm swinging, it's taking a little bit to come back. It does put a little bit slower regen on it. And like I said, the full set, you will definitely need that strength ring, unless your endurance is up super high, but that will take a ring slot. The next one that I'm going to talk about is the brushwood. Now the brushwood, of course, as you can see, with all my weapons on here and you know, the main ones that I use, I'm just below that threshold with the Ring of Great Strength. Now, I have the Herculean Strength on just for equipment so I could show you because I have everything in my inventory, but you would have to use something different here. Now, this is your... Look at this set. I mean, this just screams, you know, Paladin, and that's what I called it. I called this the Paladin build. So you could go with this set. It just looks badass, plain and simple. So some of the pros, of course, it is the strongest defense in the game, hands down. The other part of it is that it does have a pretty high fire resistance, and that could be pretty important for you depending on how you're playing. It's the second highest, I believe, next to the last piece of armor, which we'll get to in just a little bit. Some of the cons. Absolutely need the Ring of Strength to wear it, and this beast is heavy. It is absolutely heavy, the heaviest in the game. Oh, the headpiece, just looking at my notes. I'll cut this out. The headpiece, you may not be able to wear it even with the ring equipped. So I suggest going to that silver cornet. Okay, and then the last part of the build is our Ancient Kings set. Now this set is the one I've been using through PvP and PvE, so you could do either or here. It's not that big of a deal, but some of the greatest things about this armor is that it is light for what it is. Okay, it has very high defense overall. So yeah, look at these stats. I mean, they're up there pretty high. Even your fire, your magic, it does pretty good with your bleed and poison. But overall, it is a pretty good set. It is low on equipment burden, so as you can see, top right corner, with the ring on, it's at 28%. If I take that off, I could put pretty much the full set on and pick a different ring, as long as my headpiece is where I want it. I think if we put the headpiece on without the strength ring, we get over that 50% mark, but I wasn't a big fan of many of the headpieces in the game, besides this cornet. Plus, character I built, I think looks like Ragnar Lothbrok. I like that look, so we're going to keep that. So with that said, that's our equipment going into New Game Plus, and they're the ones that you should really look for. As for miracles for the Faith set, they're going to change based on what you decide you're going to be doing. If you're going to go through PvE in, like, say, World 3, as a lot of magic users absolutely put on anti-magic field. That takes up 2 spots, and then the other 2 you can put whatever you'd like on. I always keep evacuate on, and then that leaves 1 more spot, so you could either do something like a heal, you could do regen, you could do cure, whatever you'd like. At that point, it doesn't really matter, but reason being is that once you have anti-magic field on, you cannot put any other type of status, positive status on you. Like, so for example, you can't put on a second chance, you can't put on regen, anti-magic field, or even vice versa. If you have second chance on, you're not going to be able to put on anti-magic field. Okay. So that's pretty much my loadout there. When you go into PvP, the 2 that I suggest putting on, anti-magic field and second chance, because if you're going to be faced with a magic user, you could easily go on and put on anti-magic field, and you could pretty much stop them in their path, and then Second chances, of course, very good. Even on new game, doing PvE, it's very good because if you do happen to die a lot, you get that second chance. Alright, so as for magic, again, this is going to be very highly subjective of what you're working on. Did I free her? Yeah, okay. I don't remember what I'm doing with this character yet.
Let me pass. I am a human.
So with magic, I didn't level up magic a lot. I only have 2 spots open, so I typically, during PvE, I put warding on because I use weapons that primarily can't be enhanced. Obviously, using something like Firestorm, I can't use it anyway. I don't have 3 spots, but any other magic doesn't really suit me that well. If I'm going through World 2, primarily down in the lava pits, I would definitely put on Water Veil. I may even, for that purpose, I may even do Soul Ray, just to pull some of the those what are those flying bear bugs away from the lava. I could shoot at them a little bit. They're weak to magic. I don't do a lot of damage, but it's enough to get them over to me. As for magic for PvP, something that I saw, I don't really do it that much.
As promised.
But as a tactic, you could do something like, I don't even have it unlocked, Poison Cloud. You could do Acid Cloud. I've seen that. Death Cloud as part of your magic. Just so that as you have, during PvP, somebody's a little bit further away from you, you could cast that, Death Cloud. Death Cloud's not too great. I think Acid Cloud's a little bit more cheeky, where you could start deteriorating their equipment and stuff. But just something to think about, depending on what you decide to do with your character. Okay, and then the last thing, let me see here, just to change up the scenery a little bit, I'm going to go over to World 1. Is the stats. Where do you dump your stats? So, once you get past the meta at 120, I went past. Obviously, you don't have to do that. I just kept on leveling because I just wanted to. As you can see, my stats here, the 3 main ones that you want to really focus on throughout your faith build. Number 1 is your faith. You want to get that up to 50 as quickly as possible. I went to 55, but you could stop at 50. Vitality at 50, and an endurance should be 40. So if you're just going to that 125 meta range, you're going to be looking at, let's see here. Yeah, you're going to be looking at that 50 vitality. My camera was not focusing well. 50 vitality you want to stop at, 40 endurance, 50 faith, and then intelligence is good because intelligence is going to give you some more mana to cast your miracles. But as you can see, that's where I pump mine in. I started to pump it into strength and then dexterity, and that was mainly because I wanted to use the Northern Regalia along with the lava bow. Also, my magic, I brought it up to 13 so I could meet the requirements. So we have 12, 12, 14, and 20, the requirements of the Northern Regalia. So I brought them up to there. So just to show you a little bit, as I'm coming up here, this is like new game, I think plus. You could easily one-shot everything with this build, right? If you're lower level in New Game Plus, you will have a little bit more challenging time going through. Get these guys. The other great thing about this Faith build is fighting Phalanx with that large sword, but the Moonlight Greatsword. With all those shields up, I don't even waste my time with all the fire bombs and the pine resin and all that. You just run up and spank them. As you can see, I took a couple hits. My regen on my shield is kicking in. No, don't do it. So again, if I switch over to the Blessed, and just those two, look at my MP, or my HP kicking in. just coming back, and then that's even more so if I put my regen ring on. And it's all back to normal. So what I'll do is just show you a little bit more about this build. Obviously the regen build is fantastic. You could go through with a cling ring. That's fine. In fact, if you don't have your vitality up to 30, I would probably suggest that. But let's go over to King's Tower. Is that the one? Yeah, they have those Red Knights. Those Red Knights still can kick your butt. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm going to go back down this way. Just to show you a little bit of difference. I'm going to take this ring off, and I'm going to go with Cling Ring just because I'm going to need that extra, little extra health. So let's see. So with my lava bow, I was a little bit further away. I only did 70 damage. Not good. Alright. So like I said, so even with this sword, it doesn't do a lot of damage. And I took quite a bit of damage. Those guys could still one-shot you. So switching over to the Northern Regalia is probably better in these types of situations. Let's see if I get a little bit closer. Yeah, 82 damage. Not too bad to these guys. 322. Yeah, so basically a 2-hit with the Northern Regalia. And then where's this Jack Clown here? We tanked that one. Oh. Good. Yeah, he didn't do too much. But yeah, as you can see, this is pretty much the way you want to go when you're going into the New Game Plus. Like I said, spend some time in New Game before finishing. You little son of a bitch. Who got me? How did you... How did you get me? Oh no! Somebody's shooting at me. I don't know. There you go. I like how everybody else watches him die, and then watch. They'll go back to, oh well, let's keep on watching the stairs. Okay, back to normal. Nothing to see. Anyway, what was I saying about the stats? Yeah, so spending some time in new game, I think it'll be important to level up a little bit. Enter New Game Plus around level 100. You will have a much easier time. Make sure you have maxed weapons. Spend some time. And do the work yourself. I mean, you could simply go online, go onto a forum and say, hey, let's somebody on that could drop a item for me. That's fine. It's up to you. I find that if I do it myself, it's just much more rewarding. I did it. I didn't have to, let anybody else help me with it. But you play the way you want to play. So that's pretty much this video. That's what I wanted to cover today. I know there was a few people asking me, they watched the my faith walkthrough using this build in new game, and I had a lot of questions like, where do we go from here? Like, so do we keep on pumping our stats, our souls into faith? How far do you go with it? Where do we go with vitality? Do I need strength? So hopefully this answered those questions. I don't feel like going through a whole nother New Game Plus with this type of build is really something to do, but at least you could see how I'm progressing and where I wanted to go with it, and some armor choices along with some weapon choices. You can't go wrong with the blessed weapons. They're going to be your bread and butter for this build, along with that that Moonlight Greatsword. But think about going into adding more strength, your dexterity, and of course a little bit of magic, so you could utilize that Northern Regalia sword in PvE. It really destroys. It destroys bosses. It's going to be your heaviest hitting weapon. So with that said, if you did like the video, please leave a like for me. Subscribe so you can see some great videos that are coming out, some great new games. I'm super pumped for Resident Evil 8's coming out very soon, in a day or two. I just started playing Returnal. I'm having issues with that game. It is tough. It's even tough to show you guys and record because I keep on dying and starting over. So yeah, hit subscribe, hit that notifications button so you could get all the new videos and content that I'm providing. And I'll see you guys next time.